Hey guys, today I'm showing you my makeshift voltmeter with Arduino. On the right side of the screwdriver you can pretty much see the measurement circuit. It's just the Arduino hooked up to an LCD screen that actually shows 4 different voltages, and on the left side we have a dummy circuit so I can show you how the measurements work. We have these 4 cables, which are actually connected to the analog pins of the Arduino and measure the voltages. As you can see, we have 2 resistors and 2 LEDs. The voltage applied to the plus is 5 volts. It drops over one resistor with 220 ohms and is then connected to the LED. And the other LED, you can see it isn't as bright as this one because we have another 330 ohms resistor in between where another portion of voltage drops over that, so we have less voltage and subsequently less current flowing through the second LED. Right now we have the first 2 cables connected to plus, that means 5 volt, 1 and 2 is 5 volt. The third and fourth are connected to ground, that means 0 volt. So let's just take the second one and measure the voltage after the first resistor. That's 3 volts. That means that 3 volts are dropping over this LED, the bright one. And if you take the third measurement after the second resistor, we see we have a little less, like 2.8 volts. Yeah, 2.84 volts dropping over the second LED, which is why it's a little less bright. Okay, so let's have a look how it actually works. As I just said, we have in the Arduino, and I use the Arduino Uno, not only digital pins but also analog pins that can not only read high and low but different voltages from 0 to 5 volts, because 5 volts is the maximum voltage of the Arduino. These are there are 6 different analog pins in the Arduino Uno. I use 4 of them. These are connected to the circuit we just saw and read the values there. The values you read are actually not voltages but integers from 0 to 1023. That means there's 1024 values. That means the resolution is 10 bits and you have to convert it. You can see the raw data on the serial port. I printed there. So we have, for example, for our first sensor, I guess, it reads 1019. That's pretty close to 1023. And when you convert it, you get 4.98 volts. And for example, for the fourth sensor on the right, it reads like 2 or 3 very, very low values, which means just because it's connected to ground. And if you convert it, you get like 0.01 volts. And same thing with sensor 2 and sensor 3 in between. For convenience, all these values are displayed also on this LCD screen, and they are updated live every 1 second, and you can change this value if you want to. This is a 16x2 LCD screen. It's hooked up to several pins of the Arduino, as you can see, and we have this potentiometer here to change the contrast settings so you can actually read it. And yeah, it is updated live every second, and you can play around with your Arduino with different circuits. When I did some courses for electrical engineering and built different different circuits with resistors, LEDs, diodes, stuff like that. I wanted to be able to measure some voltages, and at some point I didn't have an actual voltmeter around, so I built this for me to check all those voltages. As you can see, to operate it, the Arduino doesn't have to be plugged into a PC. You just have to hook it up to a power cable, so you can run the circuit and the LCD screen, of course. And the values that are displayed are actually pretty accurate. If you compare it to, for example, what we can measure on a voltmeter here, and just measure the voltage drop over this second LED, and you can see it's like 2.67 volts, and what is shown like 2.75 volts, which is pretty good. And also we have some voltage drop, some resistance inside the breadboard, which is also why you see like 4.94 volts on the power line and 0.01 volts on the ground line. But for example, if you hook up the fourth sensor really to the power line, just like put it very, very close to this, yeah, you get like to 4.99, so pretty much pretty close to those 5 volts. The only thing is you can only measure voltages that are produced by the Arduino. So you have to have your, like the voltage in your circuit has to originate from your Arduino.